Each of these children, based on the reports, didn't look to be their age. The young lady who was brave enough to escape and get help was 17, and then everyone said she looked like she was about 10. That tells you that their physical deprivation was something that had been going on over a long period of time. This isn't something that just started happening. This isn't something that they were subjected to in the recent past. They haven't had any of the milestones that most kids need in order to be successful for themselves as well as in their interaction with other people. So this is going to be something these kids are going to have to be rehabilitated over years worth of time.
You have to?
Yeah, you know what, it's over there.
Oh, okay.
But it will have an effect in every aspect of who they are. Clearly, these kids have experienced trauma. When you talk about trauma, one of the very first rules to helping a child get through trauma, number one, make sure they're not still experiencing it. So you would think that would be an obvious one, and yet the fact is a lot of times kids are taken out of a situation where they were experiencing trauma and then unfortunately experience a whole other kind of trauma in the next situation. And that could be well-intentioned in that a child who goes from a house like this into a healthy home, if we're not trying to understand where they're coming from, being in a house that is so unfamiliar, being around people and having interactions that are so unfamiliar, that in itself could be traumatic. You really want to get them the help as soon as you do know that the trauma has occurred. So in that way, you're right, a 2-year-old who's been exposed to trauma may have a very different prognosis than someone who is 29 and has been exposed to this ongoing for who knows how long and how many years. It's a tough road ahead for each of the kids, and it may be partly based on how long they were exposed to it. It might be based on their own temperament. Some children have a very different disposition when it comes to how they handle difficult times. So for all of those reasons, it's hard to know exactly how it's going to go.